Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture on Basics of News Editing. In the last class, we have discussed what is a headline and different types of headlines. The last point that we discussed that is headline is. I hope you remember. Today, let's briefly discuss some do's and don'ts in writing traditional headlines. You know what is headline and you know the purpose of it. But today what we are going to discuss what are the things that we have to keep in mind when we write a headline. Yes, let's see what is that. First of all, let's see what are the do's. What are the factors that we have to be included in a headline? First of all, make your headline answer as many as W's as possible. What is meant by W's? Yes, W's means those WH words. What, why, when, where, why. All these questions. That means when a reader reads the headline, the reader should understand what is that news is about. What is the incident? What happened? When it happened? Where it happened? Why is it so? And one more question, that is who, and who is the lead person in that news. Suppose if it is news about a murder, the headline should answer, what is that? Yes, it's a murder. Who is the victim or who is the culprit? Sometimes we don't know the culprit, but we know the victim. Who? Where it happened? When it happened? What is the motive? Why? Why is it so? So these are the answers. So sometimes it's not possible to include all the W's in it. Okay, but we have to include as many as W's in the headline, the answers of W's questions. The next one is headline should summarize the news story. It should contain nothing that is not found in the story. It should be headline should summarize the news story. It should summarize what really described below those headlines. Preferably, it's better to write positive headlines. Even though we have to um, report a negative news, sometimes we can present it in some other way. See, school physician allies flu fear is better and shorter than flu epidemic not rampant in the city. ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ കൊറോണ വൈറസിൻ്റെ ബാധിച്ച് റിക്കവർ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളുകളുണ്ട്, മരിക്കുന്ന ആളുകളുണ്ട്. നമുക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ന് കൊറോണ കാരണം 4 പേര് മരിച്ചു എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിനേക്കാൾ എത്രയോ നല്ലതാണ് 4000 പേർ റിക്കവറായി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ന്യൂസിനകത്ത് നെഗറ്റീവ്, കൊലപാതകമാണെങ്കിൽ കൊലപാതകത്തിന് അങ്ങനെ തന്നെ എഴുതാൻ കഴിയൂ. പക്ഷേ പറ്റുന്നിടത്തോളം പോസിറ്റീവ് ഹെഡ്ലൈൻസ് എഴുതാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുക. Put a verb expressed or implied in every text. Try to include a verb in the headline. Then, what are the don'ts? What are the factors that we should be omitted in a headline? First of all, we have to omit articles and auxiliary verbs in the headline. If you want to write a grammatically correct sentence, we have to include articles and auxiliaries. But when we write the headline, it's better to avoid it. Let's see the examples. Reclaimed banks are causes of recurrent flood. This is a headline. Even if you don't write or that auxiliary there, how will you read it? We will read it. Reclaimed banks causes of recurrent flood. The meaning is conveyed. But if you avoid that auxiliary, you can consume the space. Isn't it? That is why they are asking us to avoid auxiliaries and articles. Okay. The second example, Barack Obama is new president. But in this case, we can't omit the auxiliary is. Barack Obama is new president, otherwise the meaning will not be clear. So sometimes it is mandatory to use auxiliaries or articles. But most of the cases we have to avoid it. Then use the strongest word in the first line as possible. We have to use the strongest word when we are reporting a news. We know that what is strongest point in it, that we have to be reflected in the headline. Then active verb is better than passive verb in headlines. You know what is active and passive voice. In the case of active voice, which is important, the subject, and in the case of passive, it is the object. Local high via 8 flood victims, but for variations and especially when the doer is unknown or not prominent, the passive verb may be used. So here what they are saying is always we prefer active verb, active voice. But some cases the doer is not important. If the subject is not important and if the object is important, there we can use passive voice. Then use present tense for past stories. Even if you are reporting an already happened event, in headlines we have to use present tense. And if you are reporting an event to be happened, a scheduled event in the future, there we have to use the infinitive form. What is infinitive form? Yes, what is the structure of infinitive form? 2 plus V1 form. Okay. Then write numbers in figures or spell it them out depending upon your needs for your unit counts. 5 men killed. Suppose this is the headline. How will you write that 5? Will you write it in numerical words or in figures? We will think that it's better to mention that 5 in numerical, that will consume the space, but preferably we have to use the numbers 5, F5VE, that is what we prefer. The next one is some styles. Okay, everything has styles. So here we can write the headlines in 3 styles. The first one is all caps. All the words of the headline should be capitalized. That is first style. First style. And the second one is cap and lowercase style. In that case, what we have to do? All the words. Here, character, nationalism, vital cogs in education. Here we can see that The first letter of each word is capitalized. This is cap and lowercase. But in the case of down style, only the first letter of the first word is capitalized. Okay, this is the certain do's and don'ts in writing traditional headlines. I hope you understand what I have explained so far. To make it clear, I would like to give you a classwork. It's a simple work. You have to refer one of the dailies on any date. If you do not have English newspaper at your home, you can access one of the English dailies from Google and write examples of each points that we discussed today. The first point that we discussed today is uh, make your headline answer as many as W's as possible. So go through some of the headlines and write a few examples for this point. So today, take your notebook, write the headline, do's and don'ts in writing traditional headlines. The first one, include as many as W's possible. This is the first point, and after that, you have to write a few examples after examining one of the dailies. Okay, this is how you have to complete today's classwork. You can take a few days, and once I will ask you to upload it in the Google Classroom. With this, I'm winding up today's short class. Thank you.